How many times have we whispered, gosh, I wish someone had told me that? I said it after my wife signed me up for an elementary school field trip with our son, only to find out there was no hot water at that place and 10-year-old boys never stopped talking. We don't have to wish that anymore because Dana Perino is out with a new book titled, I Wish Someone Had Told Me. And she joins us now. Welcome, Dana. It is always wonderful to see you. Let me borrow your communications mind for just a second. To effectively communicate, I think you need a message, a winsome way of communicating that message in a messenger. I found perhaps the only clip of James Carville that would not get us fined by the FCC. So let's listen, and then I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Let me make a point about Bernie and AOC. But Bernie run for president twice. He's lost twice. AOC, in her kind, and this guy, David Hall, they want to run against other Democrats.
Yeah.
They don't run against Republicans. Well, when you beat a Republican, come back and see me, and I will be impressed.
He does have a point. Winning the primary doesn't do much good if you can't win the general election. I don't know what the Democrats' message is now, but I think they're grappling for one.
They certainly are. I listened to Doug Sosnick, who worked for Bill Clinton, great political mind, and he talked about how after a presidential win like the one that Trump had, there's only 1.5 parties. There's the party in power, that's the Republicans, and then there's the half party, and that's the Democrats right now. And in order to become a full party, they have to really think about who are they going to try to run and win with in 2028. If they don't, I think that they could be in the wilderness for quite a while. I actually believe, Trey, that AOC and Bernie, it's interesting. I think they could probably draw a crowd pretty much anywhere they go because there is going to be opposition to the in-party, the Republicans. There will be. And she's fun and he's got a name recognition, but neither of them are going to be president in 2028. And I think the Democrats have a big problem right now. Because AOC and Bernie are so far out there, and then you have this young man, David Hogg, very progressive, working actually at the DNC and saying, we're not going to just try to beat Republicans, we're going to try to beat older, established Democrats. Fine. But if you do that, just beware that the country just made a very clear signal that they don't want far-left progressives, right? The Democrats lost a lot of their party base that decided to vote for Trump. So they can try this experiment. I wouldn't risk it if I were the Democrats, but if they want to, be my guest. I'll be here to watch it all.
Yeah, I think it would be an experiment like the first person who decided to listen to an electric plug-in radio while they were taking a bath. I don't think it's going to have a happy
Not advisable.
ending. All right. You have a passion for helping people, and you were, honestly, Dana, I've told you this before, you were the top role model for so many young women that I work with. And so what motivated you to write? You've written so many books that have been helpful for everyone, young men and women, but what made you want to write a book about what you wished you had known or been told?
Well, ever since I had a chance to be the White House press secretary, I really did feel an obligation to give back to a younger generation. And so many young people, especially young women, would come to me. And I wrote, and the good news is, with a chapter just for everybody, here's my mentoring advice all in one place. But the questions kept coming. And there's a supply and demand problem when it comes to young people seeking guidance. And the mentees that I knew 10 years ago, Trey, they're still coming to me. And now they are executives and managers and becoming mothers and even thinking ahead to the other problems that they're going to face. And I realized I don't have all of the answers. So I took a fresher look at the mentoring book I wrote, Everything Will Be Okay, and said, what's new? What's different? One, we are post-COVID. We are entering a time of artificial intelligence. And also, I didn't want to do a book that was just for young women anymore. I made it more broad-based, but I did something very smart. I called upon friends like you, and I asked them some questions about how do you know when to leave a job? How do you know what to study? How do you know if you've succeeded? And you have a great answer in the book about the difference between success and significance. And I think it's one of my favorite parts of the book.
Well, thank you for saying that. It was always easy for me to know when to leave a job. It was right after someone said that I was fired. That's when I knew that it was time for me to leave. All right. You recently sent me an article about young people going to work for the family business. We've discussed young people moving back home. Hope is a powerful drug. And Dana, you do give people hope. I mean, Everything is going to be okay is a hopeful book. Give people some hope that things are going to be okay now, especially young people.
Well, there are so many different ways to get educated, right, and to learn. And now we are seeing the crumbling of, you don't have to go to an Ivy League school. A four-year degree is great. And also there are great other opportunities like in the trade schools. Mike Rowe is very prominent in this new book and talking about that and how important it is to have a curious mind. I was interested in the article from the Wall Street Journal about younger people deciding to go into the family business, not because they didn't have opportunities, but because the family had worked hard. And these are mostly sort of mid-sized businesses all across the country. You can find them. There's some tough times ahead when you look at the tariff strategy. How is that all going to shake out? But there's something about working with your family, figuring out a way to keep that legacy going that is very special in America. And a new generation can add things like automation or artificial intelligence or find new markets, use new marketing tools like TikTok or Instagram Reels, whatever it might be, just a fresher way to carry on a really wonderful family legacy in America.
Dana Perino, you always give great advice publicly and privately. I have already ordered your book. I've already ordered it for people that I want to send it to, but I will not be the last to do so. It will be a smashing success like everything else you have done. Thank you for joining us on Easter Sunday, and I hope you and Peter had a great Easter.
Absolutely. Happy Easter to you and all.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.